Yeah, welcome back. The program is Trailblazers Africa, and I've been speaking with Justice Vincent Crabb. 86 years still in service. Quite interesting. And he's been telling us about what you and I need to know about the Constitution. And because we want to know our right, when a policeman stops you and asks you so many questions, you should be able to. You should be able to say something based on the understanding that you have. Sir, the African police, I'm using especially the West African, the East African. By the time they get you, they do not give you the opportunity to express yourself. And by the time you are trying to say, oh, what have I to do? You have been beaten by the police. What right do the police have to beat a suspect?
I'm afraid the police do not, and I'll repeat, the police do not have a right to beat a suspect. I don't know which law in any country confers a right on a policeman to beat a suspect. Indeed, the suspect is a suspect. Is a person who has not been proved to have done anything wrong. He's only suspected of having committed something. So he's protected by law. He has fundamental rights. He has to be informed what he has done in a language which he understands. Within 48 hours in some countries, or 72 hours in other countries, he has to be sent to court. So the policeman doesn't have all the right to detain a person. Within 48 hours or within 72 hours, he has to take the person to court. A person who has been detained also has the right to ask for bail. Bail must not be excessive. So these provisions are there in the interest of the person. If you go to court and the policeman says you made a confession, for example, there are certain things to be proved before the court will accept the confession as a genuine confession. Now, if a policeman mistreats you and you don't report to the court that a policeman has mistreated you and the matter is gone into, the fault is not with the police. The fault is not with the system. The fault is with you.
Yeah, the fault is with the person, but he doesn't have the opportunity.
They are lawyers. And I can assure you there are lawyers in every country who will take your case to court without asking you for fees. They are there, I can assure you. There are lawyers who know the significance of being a lawyer.
Now, well, for those that are watching this program, if you have such experience, you can just text the number that is on your screen, or maybe give a call, and we'll try to guide you. Sir, I also have a follow-up to that. In some prisons today, we have the awaiting trial. Some have been there for years. And it will marvel you, sir, that, oh, this man has not been tried, and he's been here some 15 years. I visited a prison in Nigeria, and one guy said he's been at the awaiting trial for 26 years. And I asked myself, 26 years in a lifetime of a man.
What are your lawyers doing about it? What are they trained for?
Okay.
Do they take up these cases? How far do we bring these things? Sometimes you see the executive may not know about these things. And it's people for make noise about it. These are the areas, as far as I'm concerned, in which sometimes people must talk. You see, if you are in government, sometimes you are removed from the people, in the sense that your work confines you to what you are doing. The president of Nigeria will not know today, at this moment, what is happening in the prisons. Somebody has got to bring this to his attention. And when these matters are brought to the appropriate attentions, I know that measures are taken. In Ghana, a few months ago, I believe it was made possible for a judge to go to prisons to go and sit down in the prisons and deal with remand cases. It has been done in this country, and I believe it can be done in other countries in Africa.
Yeah, there's this saying that ignorance of the law is not an excuse. There's even a Latin word that says ignorantia lege haudo excusare. Permit me if I didn't get it right. But then,
I understand.
Why should I be punished for what I do not know?
It's not that you should be punished for what you do not know. I think people misunderstand that principle of law. What it means is that when you go to court and you are charged with an offense or doing something, you cannot plead that you did not know that the law existed. Look at it this way. If everybody who commits an offense goes to court and says, I did not know that the law was there, what is going to happen? It's your responsibility as a citizen to know what the law is. You may not know the law to the extent to which a lawyer knows the law, but you should be able to know that you've done something wrong or you have not done something wrong. So what the principle is talking about is that when you go to court and you are charged with an offense, you cannot use that ignorance and say, oh, I did not know that the law is there, therefore I committed the offense. That's all that it means. Now, I believe years ago in this country, as well as in Nigeria, there was a provision in the Courts Act which requires a judge in dealing with certain cases to look at the circumstances of the person with whom he's dealing. So that, you see, with us, there was some way in which that principle can be established. I'll tell you about my own personal experience. As Crown Counsel, I was conducting a case in court. A man had killed his wife. He had a penknife in his pocket when he went to bed. And I was trying to tell the judge that he knew what he was going to do. That was why he put the penknife in his pocket. The judge stopped me and he said, no, I won't allow you to pursue that line of argument, because where this person comes from, holding a cutlass or a spear is like you holding a walking stick. You see, in other words, the judge was trying to tell him that take his circumstances into account and don't bring the concept of mens rea, as we call it, in some other jurisdiction into your jurisdiction. Look at the conditions in your country in dealing with cases. And this was when I was a young man, young person. So you see, our judges, at least at the time I was young, did not rely solely on this principle of ignorance of the law is no excuse. You took into consideration the conditions of the accused person. Look at the matter this way. In your country and in my country, if Parliament passes a law and it gets on the statute book, are you sure whether the man is some village far away from Jos or a village far away from Accra really knows what has happened? He doesn't. See? So we must have some mechanism by which he gets to know. But if you say that he has a defense and come to court and says, oh, I did not know that Parliament has done something, then, I mean, you're creating chaos in your country.
So I'd like to take you on these. In various parliaments, you have non-lawyers as members of the parliament. Now, should there not be a situation or a constitution that we only give that office, that's the parliament, to those who understand the law? Because, take for instance, maybe I'm a businessman and I've contested in my constituency for the House of Parliament, to be a member of the parliament. And because of the way that I have, I'm voted in. But getting into the, to the chamber, I have no idea of law, I don't know what to do about law, and I'm just there sitting. So how will somebody who doesn't have the knowledge of law make law?
Do you have the jury system in Nigeria?
Yes, we do.
Good. The person who
No, this
jury,
is just for Africa.
I'm trying to make an argument.
Okay.
The person who sits on a jury is not a lawyer.
Okay.
It's an ordinary human being who has a modicum of common sense. And what the law requires is that looking at the facts of a case, not the law. The law is for the lawyers and the judge. But looking at the facts of the case, can he say that this person who is standing in the dock is a person who is guilty of the offense? Transfer the same principle to Parliament. We don't have to have members of Parliament or lawyers. We want people who are intelligent. And after all, not everybody who is a lawyer has to know law. You send to Parliament people who you understand and have sufficient common sense to deal with the problems of the country. So, if a bill comes to Parliament and those who draft legislation are required to make the bills as simple and concise and accurate for the average person, then your member of Parliament, even if he's not a lawyer, can bring his expertise and experience so that the law which is written comes out better than before it went into Parliament as a bill. If our members of Parliament fall short of that standard, I don't think we can blame the system. Again, we have to blame ourselves. We elect them there. And we must elect people whom we are sure have the intelligence and the capabilities to serve the country as a whole. Intelligence and common sense and wisdom are not with people who have been to school. There are so many people who have not been to school. There are so many people who are not university graduates. That does not mean that they don't think. That does not mean that they don't have common sense.
Then we should go back to our traditional way of settling, crisis instead of going to the courts.
Good. That's what you call alternative dispute resolution.
Yeah.
We have it. Have we been using it? Now it's been brought up and people are making noise about it and we are having legislation about it. I'm quite sure even now in your country as well in my country, in the far remote areas, they are doing it. In this country, if somebody does you something and you don't like, you say, I'm going to the chief's house. You go and make a complaint there. The chief calls the people. The matter is settled. It's been done, even with the courts as they are there. What we have to do now, because we are advancing, you see, we have to look at our institutions. Which of our institutions we can improve to make life better for ourselves? This idea of, everything coming from outside is good, we have to shed those ideas. We also have institutions. Those institutions were imported into our countries did not start in the way in which they are at the moment. They have been developed to reach that stage. We also now have the opportunity to develop our institutions and raise them to a very high standard. It has been done. It can be done.
But which would you regard the better one? The alternative way of settling issue, or coming to the court that we are trying to bring because of education, because of civilization?
We can use one to complement the other.
But there's this saying that you don't come back from court and still be friends. But for the alternative dispute resolution, we could fight, and then we'll resolve it. and the next minute we are eating together. But that is not always the case in the issue of court.
You can go to court and come out as friends. When the lawyers go and stand and plead your cases, when they come out from the courtroom, they don't fight. They talk to each other. They go to the same societies. They are friends. Why should you, the clients, be enemies? Look at what they do, and you follow their example. It's human nature.
Yeah, look at what the lawyers do. The lawyers will leave the court and they go to a good eatery to enjoy the money they have collected from you and I. And the two, fighters, or as it were, the clients, as it were, will keep on fighting themselves. But Justice Vincent Crabb is saying you must do what the lawyers are also doing. Well, there is this statement. Well, I'm not a lawyer. To the learned friend, I want to appeal to you. There's this saying that lawyers are liars. We'll find out after this break.
One for the money, two for the show. Free get original, cool, can't go, don't step on my boots or shoes.
And so we believe as diasporians, it's our duty and responsibility to help with the development of Africa.
The destiny of Africa is in our hands. And so we should prepare ourselves for that leadership role.
If my style is to have a worldwide organization that is fighting for peace, some traditional rulers may have their own vision to assist, in any other form.
If you listen to me very well and you practice what I'm saying, that's the legacy I'm giving you.
Indeed, the continent of Africa is blessed with a lot of potentials and resources. No one can make the continent great except Africans themselves. Join Moses Owopade on this award-winning television station, Crystal TV, every Saturday at 10:30 to 11:30 a.m. on Trailblazers Africa. Trailblazers Africa, celebrating African potentials. Yes, welcome back to the program. It's Trailblazers Africa, and I've been speaking with Justice Vincent Crabb, 86 years old, still in service, the Ministry of Justice, Republic of Ghana. Sir, there is this belief, maybe a wrong belief, that lawyers have a way of packaging even something that is not real as real, so that they can fight, they can defend their client in the court. Are lawyers liars?
The answer is a big no. Lawyers are not liars.
Great.
But lawyers are trained in order to find out the truth. You see, when you go to court and the judge is sitting down there, the judge doesn't know what has happened, whether it's a civil case or it's a criminal case. The judge doesn't know what has happened. It's what you tell the judge. And it's what you tell the judge that the judge uses in order to come to a decision. That's why when you call a witness in a criminal case, in a civil case, the witness says he's going to speak the truth and nothing but the truth. Now, then you will ask me, how is it that then lawyers go to court and they lose a case? We have to appreciate that lawyers go to court for justice to be done. As I said, the judge doesn't know the facts. It's what you put before the judge that the judge is going to use to come to judgment.